Hello and good morning everybody. Welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 29th of June 2023. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, special offer last days, finishes tomorrow midnight. You get 3 free months for 12-month subscription, 4 free months for 24-month subscription. Go for it if you like. Come and join us. We have good fun at Stockradar. We focus on the stocks going up, not the ones that are going down. So come and get on board and enjoy a membership for a while, okay? Don't forget our free blog, which is full of trading articles, and for members to access the Trading Centre each Monday for updates on entries, exits, stops, alerts, reversals, and trend intensity rating on each and every stock that we cover, okay? This week in Trading Tactics, a few reaffirmation sort of stuff. We need this every now and then, and I hope you get that from the YouTube videos. I just go over things again just to remind you of what we need to do. And we'll talk a little bit about processes which give you control of what you're doing. So we'll talk a little bit about that in Trading Tactics later on this week. Okay, so BHP digs deep. That's the article today. I'm going to go through a few miners for you. I think they're looking a bit interesting at the moment, so we'll have a bit of a chat about that a bit later on when we go through the stocks. But first off, we're going to check out the trend intensity ratings, the top 10 for this week. Well, Brickworks is at the top. It's doing rather nicely since it broke to new highs. IAG's joined the insurance companies with NHF there. We can see there's a few ETFs that are doing quite well. AGL's had a meteoric rise. You can see it there. You've probably seen this chart on the promo I sent out recently. It's risen about $4 in about 2 months. Okay, so we've jumped on board that one. We've got the last $2 out of it in a pretty short time, so it's been quite a good little ride there for AGL. We've got Xero, which has returned to the fold. Aristocrat and Boral are also just trying to break high. Well, Boral has broken high quite nicely. They're both just in slight holding patterns at the moment, but looking okay. All right, so let's get to the overseas markets first. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's all interesting. The buyers are pushing hard and the sellers are resisting. It's been a really hard yakka over the last few months for this. So we can see here now, I've sort of redrawn some lines here. We've got low high pressure there. You can see through here, this is where it stopped. It hasn't got to this one area here. It's stopped. Low high is always a worry. But then I look down here and I say, well, the buyers are resilient. They're creating the high lows. We've got some reasonably good volume on this, especially the last little rally. Momentum's just positive. It's above the average. So, it's a hard one to call. But, we do have this big resistance over the top, which we need to get through sometime soon. Or we're going to start retreating again. The buyers are going to give up again. So it's interesting. We keep an eye on it. This is the Dow Jones, just in case you don't know what it is. Okay, so that's how that's looking at the moment. The S&P is looking pretty good as well. It's had a nice little rally up through here, and it's continuing high. It's broken resistance. It's not anywhere near the highs like the Dow is, but it's not too far away, and that looks like where we're heading, having now got through this area here, this bit of congestion area here, a few highs along here, and we've got some really nice volume also attaching to these rises, which is good, and momentum is strong. So there's good momentum in the market on the S&P. So that's a good sign, and it is rising nicely. So we just hold with that one, and the trend is up. So that looks okay to me now. Nasdaq, similar situation. We've had some really good rises on the Nasdaq lately, some big rises. And if you look at this little red hot, this big black bar here, you can see this rise here, coinciding this beautiful volume here. This has been a really powerful rise. So we're really quite happy about the Nasdaq and the techie stocks at the moment. They're going well. Momentum's well behind this one, moving average. So if I was to run a trend intensity rating over this, index over this, it would be 10 out of 10 for sure. Okay, so that's the Nasdaq. Commodities, well, not such a happy picture, but not too bad. Because we are going to be looking at the miners a bit later on, so I've got a little bit of an interesting story going on there. For the moment, though, copper is holding in a downtrend, okay? It's never really recovered this from this big fall down here. It made a higher low here, a lower high, and it's now still pushing down. And again, we're being resisted at this point here again, which seems to be failing again. Now, we had some reasonably good volume here, so on this little rally up into this area here, but that's not enough. That's the short-term view. The longer-term view, the main view we look at is this, which is the lower highs and lower lows trend down, and you would expect this to come back down to S2. So whether it does or not, we don't know. Momentum is falling flat. Momentum, we saw a bit of volume there, but it's really not giving us a lot to go on because we're not breaking any highs and we're not breaking any downtrend lines. So, that the trend remains down there. And similar gold, it's going sideways. It still hasn't really dropped off from that big high yet, but we may see a collapse. I don't know. It's been fairly resilient, which is quite surprising. We are at the top of a trading range here. It's been going on for a couple of years. So we can sort of watch this, but I'm not all that happy about it at the moment because we haven't really got through there at this stage. We're getting some selling here. The momentum's starting to fall flat a little bit. So this is a resistance. If it gets through there, then I'll be happy. But for the moment, it's not looking all that flash. And Brent, well, it just really cannot get a rally out of this, and it just keeps getting weaker. And this is probably the weakest price we've seen since the highs up around 120. Now it's closed there at 72 something or other, not looking too good. We're getting it's a bit of a battle here. This is weak, steady downtrend below zero there, so this is really what we've got here at the moment. So if this doesn't hold, we get a little bit of a fall on this one, so that's not such a good picture there. But for the moment, it's still holding that support level for the moment. So but the trend remains down, so I guess the bias on all these ones is really down. Okay, so that is the commodities and the US dollar and the US indices. Our market, okay, the ASX 200 is actually looking okay. It's a bit like what we saw at the Dow Jones. There's a bit of a standoff going on here, where we've got this resilient buyers just keep coming back all the time, and maybe they will again here. I don't know. But we do have a small downtrend off this big resistance level, which is the all-time high. So that's the major level we need to get through for the moment. And we're not getting through it at the moment, and we're crumbling a little bit. So, but we still have this buyer resilience here going on. So whether it fails here, I guess I would look at this area here for a failure point around this S1 area. If it fails below here, then we could come back down to here. So for the moment, we'll just wait and watch this one. That's a neutral rating on the momentum index. The ASX 200 not doing much. The banks haven't been doing much. Not all of the leaders have been doing much. There's a few lights there with Telstra and Aristocrat and things like that, but not a hell of a lot there to move the index. Okay, so that's the ASX 200. We can go down and have a look at the portfolios. Okay. So the stock pick count went down 5 this week. We lost quite a few stocks this week. We're down to 44 stock picks and ETFs from 183 covered. So the breakup is 35 stocks of 160 stocks. So there's not a lot of stocks still. Okay, so you've really got to be careful because the majority of stocks, I think it's 125, are in downtrends, 35 are in uptrends. So they're the ones we follow. That's why we're happy people, because we've got some good rallies, whether it's AGL or Boral or whatever it is, Brickworks. There's some stocks doing really well at the moment, okay? Balanced off with that, some of the ones we have entered, we've taken some small losses. There's been quite a few, so that has balanced that off a little bit, but still, we always remain on the positive side of these things because this market has been a difficult market, no doubt, for a couple of years now. So we've got to recognise that and understand that, and I'll talk a bit about that in the newsletter that's going to be coming out tomorrow, I think. Okay. So that's the stock pick update. We go to the portfolios, and again, during this period, this tough period we've been through, our portfolios have done well overall. We are really in capital preservation mode at the moment because it's very hard to make a lot of money. The uptrends are there, but there's not a lot of them. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we're on them. The conservative portfolio is hitting, it's got 8 out of 20, which is not too bad. So we're 40% equity, 60% cash, and it's still running at 8.7 compound annual growth rate. Our long-term one, Energizer 5 stock, which is our best portfolio. It's running since 2003. Has lost one stock to 4 out of 5 stocks. But there's still the CAGR 16.7, which is still good. So we're sort of hovering. We've chipped away a little bit at that, but that's been hard because the market's been difficult. But it's still a good overall long-term return, and we look to hopefully get that boosted up when we do start returning to a long-term uptrend again. Excuse me. Okay, the Energizer 10 stock, since inception of 2003, has been really steady, around 12.7, 13%, doing really well. It's currently got 8 out of 10 stocks at the moment. Our more shorter-term portfolios, which haven't had the really nice big uptrend phase of all that sort of stuff, they've had a lot of choppy stuff, are still managing to do okay. The one we started in August 20 does have 5 out of 5 stocks in there, and it's running at CAGR of 8%. So we're 100% equities in that one. And the one since March 21, we've got 4 out of 5 stocks there running at 80% equities, 7.1%. So still not bad over those couple of years. So During tough times, we try and preserve capital. During the good times, when that trends are up, that's when we really expose ourselves to the market and make our money. So we would love to see the ASX 200 through the highs, and we can have a nice little big uptrend again, but we may have to wait a bit longer. I don't really know. But we just monitor the market, and we deal with each phase as they come. Okay, so that is the portfolio update. Now what I want to do is go to some stocks for you. Okay, firstly, BHP. We looked at this briefly last week, but I've had a sort of a bit, I've been looking at it a bit more, and it's, I'm a bit surprised how high it is when I consider what copper's doing and what crude's doing. But then I think about what iron ore, which probably takes up almost 50% of its revenue. So, those stocks, the ones we're going to look at next, Fortescue, Rio, iron ore has really been the big driving force between their profits at the moment. So this may still hold this market. And when I look at BHP at the moment, I've really got this very, very bullish uptrend line here since 2020, where these lows have just got higher and higher and higher. And it's pushed hard and hard and hard here. We nearly got through here back in January this year, but we failed again. But we've come back and we've created, looks like a new, pretty good support line through here, new high low there. So it sort of says, to me, that the buyers are resilient, the sellers are just resisting. Trend intensity is -1, so it's neutral. So this is certainly worth watching, this one. Now, if I just squeeze up the volume here a little bit, we've got that big tick there, which damages it a little bit. But if I can get it up a little bit here further for you to have a look at, you can see just this last little run up here. This last little correction move up here, this is just an early indication of a bit of demand. We've probably got more green bars than red through here. There's a bit of red through here as we dived here and we tested this support here, but we've now got the buyers come back in and bought this again. So it's quite encouraging. Now this has also really hit the zero level, the momentum level, and stopped. Now if it starts to pop from here, that's a really good sign. So we're sort of on a bit of a precipice here looking at BHP, but I think I'd find it very interesting, and I'd certainly keep an eye on this stock, because if it does go through here, and we are always surprised by the stock market, if it does go through that high at $50, it will go for another run, or the odds are that it will go for another really good run. So that's all-time highs. So that's why I find this chart really interesting, and we've got this very strong buyer push all through here for the last couple of years, just keen as mustard to get into this stock. So that's BHP for you. I like the look of it, but I really like the look of it through $50. Still $5 to go there yet. Okay, Rio, similar sort of picture, although we don't have that uptrend line, but we've got more of a sideways trading range. We've got these lows here, but we've got this big resistance level. The good thing about these is we know when they break, they're going to unleash a good move, chances are. So we're watching this one, but we've got a similar shorter term picture here. We've got a downtrend push off the highs. We're finding support down here. A bit of volume's just kicked in this last little volume. It's a quite high volume compared to what we've seen here recently, and steady volume kicked in here. So interesting there. And again, we're back here on momentum, back at the neutral level, but we've flattened again. So it's a trend intensity rating of -1, exactly the same as BHP. So again, this is an iron ore stock. A few other little bits and pieces in there, but basically an iron ore stock. So depending on what you think about iron ore, it's going to be big demand for a long time. So these stocks are going to do well, and that's why I think there's probably some very good underlying support for these stocks. And then if we go for the real pure iron ore and nothing else, we've got Fortescue. And again, we've got this resistance level, R2, R1, which I've identified. This is the test. So this is about $23. This is about $26. So the more aggressive might buy this, and the more conservative might wait for, might wait for a break above R2, above $26. But again, we've got this little push here. It's quite strong volume, unusually strong volume. Momentum's come back to hit the zero level and it's turned flat again. So I'm just sort of quietly not anticipating anything here, but I just, it looks good to me. The chart construction is good and it's positive. We just need to overcome these highs, which is no mean feat, I know. But that's the picture. And if they do start to get through there, then we've got some really good times ahead, I think, for some of these stocks. And I know a lot of people aren't too bullish at the moment on some of them, but we don't want to focus necessarily on copper and crude. But iron ore is the one we want to have a good look at there. Okay, so that's the big miners for the moment. Now we can go down here, and what I want to have a look at is a couple of small. So trend reversal we've got here for BlueScope Steel. This had a nice little trend reversal earlier on this year. Now we saw the downtrend down here. It hit a low, Down here at S1, which is around about $15, we sort of went sideways through here, didn't break it. Then we turned around and we've got a trend reversal point here at about 1750. We also have the average and the downtrend line. So we've got this convergence of tools telling us that this is an area of significance. We get some good volume appearing here, and momentum starts to click above zero around this level here, around this break point. So that's not been a bad signal for BlueScope. Trend intensity rating is 7. It's had a little bit of a sideways movement the last couple of months, but it broke above 17. It's been up to 21. It's now around 20. So we've got $3 in the kitty there, which is good. And we're still liking this. It's still an uptrend. We've got some good green buyers here. We had a good selling push down here, where the buyers challenged us quite well. The sellers challenged us here, but the buyers have come back and ramped it up again. Momentum is still positive. It's above the average. Trend intensity rating is +7. It sees us through the mist of the haze to give us a good picture. Trend intensity rating +7 means the technicals are sound at the moment, no matter what you think. Okay, so that's BlueScope Steel, and that's a trend reversal there, which has been quite a good one. Now we want to go to some new highs, which we have got. This is Worley Parsons, or not Worley Parsons anymore, just Worley. Now it has had a high here. It's ended up around here. If I just squeeze up this volume, so you can have a bit of a better look at it. Okay, so this is the current picture at the moment. This is a fairly significant resistance level. If I go back here, you can see how significant it is. It goes right back to 2019. Okay, so that's been a big area here. So we started to push through here. Okay, now we're just hovering here a little bit at the moment, but we still have trend intensity rating of 8. It has had a break, so the trend is up. The moving average, it's above the moving average. Volume is quite good here. We're having a selling test here. So this is another test we're going to see how the buyers perform, because we really are just teasing us around this big resistance level. It can really make a good breakthrough here. Then we're looking at R2 and possibly higher. But the sellers aren't going away just yet. So, but we're quietly confident. The momentum is positive. Most things are positive. Trend intensity rating is 8. So we still like the look of Worley. I think it's had a good turnaround story. Not that that's a big thing for me. I'm really looking at the price, but the price is, again, like a lot of these metals, they've got this big longer term uptrend really pushing hard here at these resistance levels, and that's what I really like about some of these stocks. Okay, this is not an insignificant thing. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5-year support level or trend line, which is not an insignificant line. Okay, so that's Worley Parsons again, quietly confident on that one there. And Luca Resources, again, we're nearly at the highs here. So for the moment, which is the shorter term picture here, is we are currently testing these highs. Just find a bit more about the look. Okay, so here we are. We've had a good rally off the lows here down at $5. It got to $12 and it came back down to around $8, $9, and since then it's been going high. Hard work, Harry. This one is. It's been up and down, but going up still. We're not in the stock at the moment. We're still waiting for this new high to break. And if you look back here on the long-term chart of Luca, it goes right back to 2013. That high, so it's significant. Trend intensity rating is 0 for a Luca, as we just hover below this area here. I should have extended these lines out, but I haven't, but we're just below this area here, and we like the look of it if it gets through. Another new high opportunity. So again, we're getting this picture of demand. We're just getting the sellers are just capping it at the moment, which is really frustrating. Okay, on a smaller end, a couple of smaller ones. IGO, a little bit different again. It's a smaller stock. It's probably got a little bit more gold. But again, if we just look, if I just put all this up here, so we can have a good look at what we're seeing. Okay, so we've got independence. Trend intensity rating is +1. It's near the highs here. We've had a good correction. It didn't get through. It got through here, but didn't continue on. It's come back and had a retrace there. It's now about to embark on another challenge at this point here, and that's the area we want to see it through. Again, the highs are the area that we want to see. Volumes are starting to appear here, and we're starting to get some good turn up in momentum here, and it's now starting to move back above the average. So the challenge is probably on here, and again, we've got this nice little prevailing uptrend that's gone on for a few years, creating this high-low scenario, which is what we like. We just want to see a good push through this level. And if I was probably my technician hat on, I'd probably have an area through here, this whole area here, this high here, this whole area needs to get through, and it's challenging it at the moment. So that's a pretty good sign for IGO. I like the look of that again. So watch these highs. These highs are up around $16, $17 roughly, just under $17. Okay, the last one I want to have a look at today is another miner called Pilbara Minerals, which we all love, and it's been a very interesting stock since it was born. Trend intensity rating is 1. Again, we're up around these highs. We had a good break up here, kicked on, came back. Now we've got 3 points across here. We've got some really nice volume showing up here. Whoops. Okay, got some really nice volume showing up here. Lots of good green bars. This is turning positive. So we just really need to see this new high here in Pilbara Minerals. Again, we've got this underlying picture of higher lows, which is really important for all those miners. So looking at those pictures of the miners, we can just see what's happening here. There is some really good underlying demand for these stocks. This critical mineral strategy is coming out. It's quite exciting what's happening in this world as people start to realise how important these minerals are to everything we do in this world. And I get the feeling there's probably going to be some sort of change in the way we think about these stocks soon. So that's probably what's underpinning these big rises. So, far be it for me to know what's going to happen. I just follow the price. I'm just waiting for these new highs to come along and break out, and that will get us moving again. Okay, now the last stock I want to go through today is one we actually looked at last week, only because I find it's quite an interesting little stock. What it is, it's called Macmillan Shakespeare, and I showed you the long-term trading range it's been in since I think about 2010 or 2013. That's the range there. Now, we looked at this last week, and we can see this last week already. We've had a really good week again this week, up from $16.80 to nearly $18. So it's had a $2 rise this week, and we're about to challenge this level here. You can run your own trend intensity rating over this. You know what I look at, the moving average. Where is it? It's above the moving edge. What's volume doing? Volume is expanding. What's momentum doing? Momentum's strong, above zero, and pointing up, which is all good. So trend intensity rating, you work it out, but it's still going to be pretty strong. So that's Macmillan Shakespeare. So excuse me, the analysis is only a small part of what I do. As we all know, it's the implementation and the discipline that makes it work, and that's what we're all about, and that's what our efforts should lie. So there's analysis, but there's also the encompassing implementation and discipline we need to run that analysis thing. So even the experts lose focus sometimes, so don't beat yourself up, just be aware and get back to your strategy as soon as possible, and hopefully it hasn't cost you too much money. And remember, holding losses is killers, because getting back from big losses is very hard, almost impossible sometimes, so be careful. If you need any help reminding yourself, the YouTube videos I publish are all there to give you constant reaffirmations and reminders of what we all need to do to help keep ourselves focused. And there's plenty of videos on the YouTube for you to go back and have a look at. Most of the titles, something like what you want to hear about, whether it's stops or moving averages or discipline or whatever it is. So you can go back and look at those things. They're all relevant today, just as relevant as they were a long time ago. So keep your eye on that, and I just try and help you, guide you, and just tell you the things that are important when you're trading. Okay, so let's go through to trading tactics just briefly. This week I just want to talk about processes. The processes is what I do. It's how I work. It's how I function. It gives me consistency in what I do. So process equals trading control. Okay, the processes that I need to have, I'm just going to outline them for you just to give you a brief idea. Okay, input your own strategy if you want. But I have a trade plan. My trade plan answers all the questions that I need to know, which are things like, what is my data universe? How many stocks am I going to hold in a portfolio? What's my sector weighting going to be? There's going to be lots of things there that you're going to ask yourself, but you need to define those things so you're not thinking about them on the run. Okay, so that's a process I go through. Okay, now once I've done all that, I'm now going to look at my stocks. They come up on my scanners, and I go through my analysis routine and the steps that I need to take in my analysis routine. And once I've done that, and I'm bought a stock, I then go through the risk management. What is my risk management process? I define it and manage it. Writing these things down makes it clear in your mind. Thinking about them and just letting them swim around in your mind doesn't do any good. When you actually see it down on a bit of paper, it makes it much easier for you to follow and listen to yourself. Okay, so the steps are setups for me. My analysis routine are either two setups. One is a trend reversal, as you know, and the second is a new high, and we're waiting for all those new highs to come along on some of those miners. Okay, so they're the two setups I have. Then, what do? I then run my trend intensity calculation over that setup. Now, so I look for the trend. If the trend is reversed to up, that gives me a rating. If it's above the moving average, that gives me a value. If the volume is expanding, that gives me a value. And if momentum is expanding, that also gives me a value. You can go to the About section of Stockradar and find out all about how I do this. Not the actual values, but actually how I work this and what I need to do that. So the trend intensity calculation is really to confirm the setup that I have, the one of the two setups, the new high or the trend reversal. And in most instances, you will know that a new high is likely to have a positive trend intensity rating because it's making new highs. It must be above the average. Okay, momentum is highly likely to be positive. Okay, so really it comes back to those setups again. It's most important. But the filter trend intensity calculation is very useful, especially for trend reversals. So when I get that value, the result comes up between plus 10 and minus 10. Can't be any difference. Got to be between those two values, okay? If it comes up as plus 4 or greater, that confirms the setup for me. So it confirms my setup. Is it yes or is it no? It's a yes for me if it's plus 4 or greater, okay? So that then says, okay, that then says I now can buy this stock. Remember what I talk about? Know why you buy and you'll know what to buy, okay? So I know why I buy, then I know what to buy. So then I go into my risk management side. Okay, I'm in the position. Okay, risk management. I set my initial stop at my maximum risk level. What are you prepared to risk on any one trade? That is what your risk profile is. That is what your stop should be set at. Okay, then the next step is the price starts to move. The stop will never move down. Okay, so my predetermined risk is set. The stop never moves down. If it gets hit, I get out. I take my loss. I move on. I don't take big losses, full stop. If the price goes up, then I start to lift my stop to lock in profit as it goes up, okay? And that's how I try and capitalise on trend and capitalise on the big trends, okay? The big trends are where I make my money. I have small losses and small wins, but the big trends, and I don't never take big losses, only big wins, and that's where my profits lie. So that's really how I do that. Fairly simple process. So the process equals trading control, and that's really what I do, and it's really as simple as that. And you just got to keep bringing yourself back to that sort of thing. Okay, so that's about it today. It's a big goodbye from me. Remember the special offer is only due till tomorrow night. The newsletter will come out tomorrow. So for those who take a trial or sign up, you'll be able to get the newsletter next for tomorrow, which will come out. And that's about all the news I've got for Stockradar at the moment. Always pumping stuff out, trying to keep the YouTube videos, the newsletters, the updates each week that come out. You get daily alerts, which just warn you of things like the stops are being hit or reversal levels are being hit. They're not action points, but they're just things to keep you on track and keep you focused and things like that. So there's always stuff coming out from Stockradar just to keep you interested. Okay, so that's it for me today. The big miners are rumbling. Stay on alert for those stocks. Okay, process equals control. Don't overthink things. Keep it straight and keep it straightforward and simple, and you'll find things will be a lot easier to manage. It will keep you from going off the rails, which can happen. We don't want that to happen. So stay safe, everybody. Watch your trends, heed your stops. Give me a call if you need any help. And remember, it's always a sunny day at Stockradar because all we do is focus on the upward trends. Okay, have a good week, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks very much.